mucor, and dead lining of the alimentary canal. So digestion does not occur in the large intestine. It only stores undigested food substances. So every food that is not digested, after all those conversion from starch to maltose to glucose, fructose, and the likes, the food that are not digested are just passed into the large intestine. Then much water is absorbed from the undigested residue, so that you don't lose more water. So water is absorbed from the undigested food. Then the semi-solid waste called feces, I'm sure you are familiar with that, is stored in the rectum until it is passed through the anus in the process of defecation. You know, when you want to go to the toilet, you want to go and defecate. That is, you are removing that undigested waste product from your body. So feces is the undigested food materials of your body. They are not digested, so you have to pass them away. They are waste products. Now, for the undigested food, I said they go through the large intestine to be passed out through the anus from the rectum. But what about the ones that are digested? They get into the bloodstream via the villi. The villi is one that absorbs it in the ileum. There is a finger-like structure called villi that help the body to absorb the digested food and goes into the bloodstream and then is useful for your body. So that is what happens. From the lump of food that you ate, they have been broken down into a very, very small substance that can be absorbed in the small intestine, precisely in the ileum, by a tiny structure called the villi. So, and it gets into the bloodstream. Still under the digestive system, our broad topic, we'll be talking about dentition and feeding habits in animals. Dentition and feeding habits in animals. And dentition is the arrangement of teeth that an animal has, the type of arrangement or the way the teeth of a particular animal is arranged. That is what dentition is all about. And in mammals or in animals generally, we have two types of dentition. We have what we call the heterodont dentition and the homodont dentition. Heterodont dentition has different kind of teeth. In that type of dentition, you find different types of teeth, and this is usually found in most mammals. While in homodont dentition, the teeth are alike in shape and in size. So it's the same type of teeth that the animal possesses. The shape, the size is the same in homodont dentition, and you can find this in fishes, in amphibians, in reptiles. So they have the same type of teeth. But in mammals that have heterodont dentition, they have different kinds of teeth. Then also we have two sets of teeth in mammal. Two sets of teeth in mammal. The first is the milk teeth or the temporary teeth, which you find in the young ones. This type of teeth, after a while, gets removed because it's not permanent. That's why we call it temporary teeth. It's modified for milk feeding. You know, when you have a young animal, it feeds on milk and on soft food. So this milk teeth is modified for feeding of milk and of soft food. It cannot feed on hard food that the adults feed on. So that is why it is called the milk teeth or the temporary teeth, because it doesn't last the whole life of the animal. Then the second type of teeth is the permanent teeth, which is found in adults. In this case, the permanent teeth don't get removed naturally, but when it gets removed, it cannot be replaced. Milk teeth can be replaced. Once it removes, another one will grow. But permanent teeth, it doesn't remove except by accident, and it is not replaceable. So, and milk teeth of the young ones are without molars. We're talking about the kinds of teeth as we move on in the class. Now, the kinds of teeth. I said in heterodont dentition, we have various types of teeth. The teeth type are not the same, unlike in homodont dentition, whereby the shape and the size of the teeth is the same. So we want to look at the kind of teeth that you find in heterodont dentition, and it is basically 4. We have the incisors, canine, premolars, and the molars. So what each of these teeth are and their functions, we'll be looking at it. The first is incisors. Incisors is located in the front of the jaw. They are sharp, chisel-like crown for cutting, tearing, and holding food in certain cases. Majorly, they are for cutting. They are found at the front of the jaw, just the teeth in front of your jaw that you can easily see. That is what is called the incisor. And when you want to cut something, you know, most times you do like this. So it is the incisor that does the cutting for you. So the next type of kind of teeth is the canine, and they are next to the incisors. They are conical in shape and have sharp pointed tips used for seizing prey and for tearing flesh. So I say incisors are for cutting, canines are for tearing flesh. Then the next is the premolars. The premolars are located at the back of the jaw. They have large, rich, flat surface for cutting, for grinding, and for chewing. So the surface of premolars are not smooth, is kind of scissors-like in shape, and they are used for grinding and chewing. Then the last kind of teeth we have is the molars. Beg your pardon. Molars are located at the back of the jaw, beside the premolars, and they are the last in the arrangement of the teeth. They are closely packed together to form large surface area, rich for chewing and grinding. So they do chewing and grinding of food materials together. So there are 4 kinds of teeth: incisors, canine, premolars, and molars. So in the arrangement of the teeth, that is the way they follow. You will find incisors first, followed by canines, followed by premolars, and molars at the last. Now look at this. This is a diagrammatic representation of what I've just explained. We have the milk teeth. You can see the milk teeth, the upper jaw, the lower jaw. Then these are the permanent teeth. You see the various colors representing each type of teeth, both in the upper and in the lower jaw. Now, adaptation of mammalian teeth in man for feeding. We want to look at the type of teeth, the arrangement, how the teeth of man is adapted for its own feeding. You know, when we mentioned the characteristics of living things earlier, I said adaptation is part of the characteristics of the living thing. That is, the living thing is adapted or can be suited to its environment. It adjusts itself to whatever it finds in its environment. So the kind of food that man eats is adapted to the kind of teeth he has. You know, man is omnivorous. That is, he feeds on flesh and also on grasses or on herbs. So the dental formula of man is 2/2, or let me say it this way so that you will easily remember: 2, 1, 2, 3. I call it 2, 1, 2, 3, and I will explain why it is 2, 1, 2, 3. I said in order of occurrence, it is incisors, canine, premolars, and molars, just in that order. So when you say 2, 1, 2, 3, you divide the upper jaw into 2, or the lower jaw into 2. So you divide the jaws into 4. You know, the upper jaw, then the lower jaw. So the upper jaw divided into 2, you have a part here, you have another part here, then the lower jaw, a part on the left and a part on the right. So that 2, 1, 2, 3 that I'm saying is just for a quarter of the set of teeth, just like the half of the upper jaw or of the lower jaw, or whichever. So it means we have 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, and 3 molars. So we have the upper jaw. Let's use this as a representation of the upper jaw. Then the lower jaw. And I said the dental formula of man is 2, 1, 2, 3. And I said incisor, canine, premolar, and molar, just in that order. But